I can't bring myself to eat food made by people like you. I'm used to Hen Sushi." Her words sliced through the air, causing me to freeze in the middle of preparing dinner. "People like me?" I repeated, trying to comprehend her sharp, mocking tone. There was a hint of a smirk in her voice, intensifying the sting of her insult. I placed my hand on the kitchen counter, momentarily speechless. "Having someone like you as a mother-in-law is a nightmare," she continued, her words dripping with contempt, "but I'm putting up with it because your son is successful, and your husband runs a company." Her casual cruelty hung in the air, draining the warmth from the room. I inhaled deeply, attempting to steady myself. Years of hard work and devotion to this family, dismissed with a single sentence. Yet, I remained resilient, hoping there was more to her than the arrogance she displayed. It was then that my husband, David, who had been silently observing, stood up. With a single word, he quieted the room, leaving us all motionless. "My name is Lisa Scott. I live with my husband, David, and our 2 sons, James and Adam. I spent most of my life as a stay-at-home mom, dedicated to raising my children. Perhaps my devotion to family is rooted in my own childhood, marked by a lack of stability and affection. At just 3 years old, my parents divorced. My mother took me in, working endlessly to support us. Despite her best efforts, we lived in poverty. Dinner was often the same simple meal every night, and my mother's exhaustion showed, but she never let her struggles overshadow her love for me. She celebrated my smallest victories and always found ways to make me feel special. Unfortunately, her health couldn't keep up with the constant sacrifices. By the time I started elementary school, she became seriously ill. Unable to work, she could no longer provide for us. The financial strain became too much, and I was sent to live in a children's home. Life at the home was tough, filled with children from all backgrounds. It taught me independence, strength, and the painful value of family. Those experiences shaped me, teaching me to cherish every moment with my loved ones. When I married David, we didn't have much, but we were happy. He started his business around the time I was pregnant with James. It took time, but we made it work, always putting family first. Over the years, his hard work paid off, and the business thrived, allowing us to provide a comfortable life for our sons. James was determined and diligent, earning a spot at a prestigious university and later securing a job at a top company. Adam, our younger son, excelled in sports and earned a soccer scholarship. I still remember James's joy when he told us his news. "Mom, Dad, I made it, I'm in." David and I were beaming with pride, knowing that his hard work had paid off. As our sons flourished, I felt that our family was in perfect harmony. That's why, when James introduced Mary to us, I was eager to welcome her. Mary was tall, graceful, and confident. Her lively personality and engaging conversation put me at ease right away. She spoke passionately about her career in interior design, and I admired her ambition. For a moment, I imagined her as the daughter I never had. She blended into our family seamlessly, until I saw a side of her I wasn't expecting. When James stepped away to use the bathroom and David took a call, Mary's attitude changed. The warmth in her eyes vanished, replaced by a cold, critical stare. "Are you all right?" I asked, concerned. She blinked, her expression hardening. "What do you mean?" "I just noticed a shift in your expression," I said, unsure of how to approach it. "Oh, it's nothing," she replied dismissively. Then, pointing at the cake I had made, she added, "Where did you get this cake? It tastes awful." I was stunned. "Excuse me?" She smirked. "I have a bakery I swear by. Next time, I'll bring something from there. You won't want to eat anything else." Her words, full of superiority, lingered in the air, unsettling me. The Mary the first had first met earlier seemed to have disappeared. Though hurt by her words, I chose to remain silent. When James returned and David finished his call, Mary switched back to her warm, cheerful persona as if nothing had happened. I decided not to mention the strange encounter, but a feeling of discomfort remained. Later that evening, Adam came home. "I'm back," he called, sounding tired. "Welcome home, Adam. You're late. Everything all right?" I asked, watching him closely. "Yeah, just a long day," he replied, his voice weary as he walked into the living room. Mary jumped up, her enthusiasm obvious. "Hi, I'm Mary. I've heard so much about you from James." Adam smiled politely but tiredly, offering his hand for a shake. "Nice to meet you," he said, his tone distant. We all sat down at the table again. James and Mary dominated the conversation, while Adam remained mostly silent, speaking only when directly addressed. You play soccer in college, right? What position? Mary asked, trying to engage him. Forward, Adam replied briefly. That's so cool. Soccer must require a lot of teamwork, Mary continued. Yeah, it does, Adam said, clearly uninterested. Despite her attempts, Adam's answers were short. Mary didn't seem put off and steered the conversation back to herself. I was in the volleyball club in college. Teamwork is everything, don't you think? Yeah, I guess, Adam said. The tension grew. Suddenly, Adam stood up. Hey, where are you going? James asked, sounding irritated. I'm tired, I'm going to bed, Adam replied, his tone growing sharp. That's rude, Mary's here, and you're just leaving? James said. Adam shrugged. I don't think it's rude, good night. As Adam walked away, Mary's smile flickered. She glared at him and clicked her tongue, an almost imperceptible, but telling reaction. My stomach churned. Was there something more to her than I had first thought? Mary quickly regained her composure. It's been a long day. I think I'll head home now, she said, her voice light once again. After James and Mary left, I turned to David. What do you think of her? He hesitated. She seems nice enough, he said thoughtfully, but Adam's behavior was strange. He's not usually like that. I noticed too, I said quietly. I'm not sure, but something feels off. David gave me a reassuring smile. Let's give it some time. People see things differently. That night, as the house grew silent, I sat on the couch, reflecting on the evening. Adam walked in. Mom, can we talk? Of course, I said, gesturing for him to sit next to me. He hesitated, choosing his words carefully. That girl, Mary, I'm not sure she and I get along. James seems to really like her, but I just don't feel right about her. Why do you feel that way? I asked softly. It's not anything specific, he admitted, just a gut feeling. I nodded, understanding. I get it. Sometimes instincts say more than we realize. He looked relieved. She smiles, but there's something off about it. I feel that too, I admitted. I'm not trying to speak badly of her, but something about her just doesn't sit right. I don't want to upset James, but I can't ignore my feelings either. We kept talking for a while, Adam voicing his concerns, which mirrored my own. It made me feel more confident in my cautious stance. The next morning, things got tense at breakfast when Mary's name came up. Adam's face tightened. James, what is it that you see in her? Enough, Adam, James snapped. Why do I always have to explain myself to you? Seriously, this is weird. Mom feels it too. I don't care what Mom says, James shouted. I like Mary. The argument escalated quickly, and I had to step in. That's enough, you can't talk to each other like this. Quieted, though his expression was stormy, James stayed upset. I tried to calm the situation. Adam, we need to respect James's choice, but James, we can't disregard how Adam feels either. Fine, Adam muttered, stepping back. Breakfast ended with a slight shift in mood, but Adam's worried look lingered. Despite the tension, James and Mary eventually married. They planned to stay with us for their first holiday as a married couple, and I prepared a feast in celebration. When they arrived, Mary's face lit up at the sight of the meal. Wow, this looks incredible. I've never seen anything like this before. Thank you, I said warmly. I made this to celebrate your marriage. Thank you so much. I feel so lucky, Mary said, smiling sweetly. Her words reassured me somewhat, and we sat down to eat, but as we began cleaning up, her tone changed. These plates are kind of old, aren't they? She remarked, her voice dripping with condescension. These plates have been with us since our wedding day. They hold a lot of memories, I explained. I see, she said with a smug smile, or maybe you can't afford new ones. Her words stung more than I expected. Before I could respond, she added coldly, you should serve sushi next time. I can't eat homemade food made by people like you. I froze. Her words were a blow I hadn't anticipated. This wasn't the Mary the first knew, this was someone completely different. Did you just call us poor? My voice rose before I could stop it, attracting the attention of James, Adam, and David. It's nothing, Mary quickly said, trying to dismiss it. But you did, didn't you? She clicked her tongue, a look of disdain on her face. So the mask falls off, Adam said, glaring at her. Why did you even marry James? You're just after his and Dad's money, aren't you? Calm down, Adam, James said, stepping in. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous? Didn't you hear what she said to Mom? How can you defend her? Adam retorted. the tension between the brothers rising. I was just joking, Mary said dismissively. You're all making a big deal out of nothing. A joke? I said, my voice firm. Even as a joke, that's something you don't say. Words like that hurt. Mary rolled her eyes. Fine, I'm sorry if you're all so sensitive. Sensitive? Adam was furious. This isn't about sensitivity, it's about respect. Do you even care about James or this family? Mary sighed dramatically as if she were done with the whole thing. Of course I care about James, why else would I marry him? Adam didn't buy it. Then why talk like that about his family? If you really cared, you wouldn't disrespect us. I'm just being honest, Mary shot back, her tone sharper. James told me how hard your mom's life was growing up. I'm just stating the truth. Sure, she's strong, but having someone like her as a mother-in-law is not ideal. Her words stung like a slap, and I saw the shock on James's face. Mary, what are you saying? He asked, his voice shaky. I'm telling the truth, James, she replied coldly, unapologetically. You're an elite. Your family's not quite on the same level, but I thought I could overlook that for you. Then, glancing at Adam, she added, honestly, he's more my type anyway. Adam stood up so abruptly that his chair scraped loudly against the floor. His fists were clenched. That's enough. The room fell silent, the weight of her words hanging heavy. Finally, my husband, who had been quiet until now, spoke. Mary, I think it's time for you to leave. What? Why? Mary looked genuinely surprised. I put up with a lot for the sake of peace, my husband said, but insulting my family crosses the line. He pulled out his phone. I'm calling your father, he needs to know what happened here. Wait, what? Mary stammered, but my husband didn't hesitate. Minutes later, the doorbell rang, and David answered. Mary's parents entered the room, her mother looking uneasy while her father, Larry, seemed calm but stern. What's going on here? Larry asked, his eyes shifting between us and his daughter. Your daughter crossed the line, my husband said. She insulted my family, and it's clear she has no respect for us. Larry turned to Mary, his tone filled with disappointment. What did you say? I didn't do anything wrong, she protested. Don't lie to me, Mary, he said firmly. Tell me the truth. Mary hesitated but didn't respond. Her mother tried to defend her, but Larry cut her off. Enough, he said. Mary, you've embarrassed this family. If you can't respect James's family, you have no place here. Dad, you can't mean that. Mary's voice broke as the weight of his words hit her. I do, Larry said firmly. It's time for you to grow up. You'll learn the value of respect and family when you're on your own. Tears welled up in Mary's eyes, but Larry didn't waver. You're coming with me today, and until you can apologize and prove you've changed, you're not welcome here. Mary and her parents left shortly after. The atmosphere in the house was thick with unresolved tension. James sat quietly, his head in his hands. I'm sorry, he finally said. I should have seen it sooner. It's okay, I said, placing a hand on his shoulder. What matters now is moving forward. Months passed, and James and Mary finalized their divorce. Though painful, it ultimately brought our family closer together. James eventually met Erica, a kind, thoughtful woman who valued family above all else. Their relationship blossomed naturally, and when James introduced her to us, we immediately felt comfortable with her. Years later, our family grew with new spouses, grandchildren, and shared memories. We learned that love and respect are the true foundations of family. One Sunday afternoon, as I watched my grandchildren play in the yard, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. We had faced many challenges, but through it all, our bond had only become stronger. Thank you for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay amazed.